Hey, what's up everybody? This is Rob with Fruit of Labor Landscaping, and I'm out here in the serene forest on a beautiful but very, very hot Sunday afternoon. I hope you guys have had a good week and are ready to get back into it for this next week starting tomorrow. Today, I just wanted to take some time to say thank you for everybody or thank you to everybody for participating in this last week's What Is It Wednesday. I'm glad that we could get some better participation than we've had in the past few weeks. And I'm happy to announce that we had some correct answers, and we're able to put everybody in that random drawing to select a winner. And we have a winner. So I have reached out to you. If you are the winner, check your inbox, check any responses to your comments so that you can make sure that you get in contact with us to be able to redeem your $10 prize. Now that we've discussed those details, I just want to go ahead and reveal what this week's plant was and talk a little bit about it. All right, so let me flip this camera around and we'll get into it. Okay, so had quite a few correct answers, a few wrong ones. I really thought that this one would be a little bit easier, but it's also just not a super common plant yet in the United States. It's more common in other places. Like in the Central and South Americas and in Asia. And this plant is papaya. So this can be a pretty leggy, it doesn't really branch out kind of tree. And all of the fruits actually set right along the main trunk. You can see those are closed flowers, and those have to be pollinated in order for it to set fruit. Now, there are varieties that need other plants to cross-pollinate in order to set fruit, and then there's also self-pollinating varieties. This is a red lady variety of papaya, and it is labeled as a self-pollinating variety of papaya. Now, I've noticed that the majority of them seem to be self-pollinating, and every once in a while I just won't get fruit. And so I don't know what the problem is there. Maybe it was mislabeled. Maybe it just didn't get all of the right genes to be able to pollinate itself. Not really sure. I'm not a scientist, but I do want you guys to know that there are different varieties that will either need a pollinator, another pollinator plant, or may not need another pollinator plant. Either way, the self-pollinating trees have both male and female flowers. So it's not like a complete or true flower like that of like an eggplant, where it has both anatomies, male and female, on one single flower. It's actually two different flowers. So those will need to be pollinated. And you can do that by hand, or if you have good pollinator activity in your garden, then they will take care of it for you. I mean, something as simple as the wind blowing should be enough to pollinate it. Now you can see that this tree has really big leaves. I really enjoy that as far as like a chop and drop. So in this tree, which I think for me at least has been kind of short-lived, whenever it's done with its life cycle, it makes great chop and drop mulch, or just the leaves themselves as they begin to die and fall. This makes great green compost. So I like it for that as well. It is not a very sturdy tree, so this is susceptible to falling over in high winds. As you can tell, if you imagine this being double the height and only keeping about 4 to 5 feet of leaf activity, it gets very top heavy. Now add some fruit that's really close up high on the trunk, and you're gonna get a really top heavy tree. So expect this to probably fall down, or at least be broken down in high wind storms like the tropical storms and hurricanes. Let's see, what else can we talk about? So let's go into pest problems. The papaya, I really don't ever see aphids or anything on it. I know that it can get certain fungal diseases with these big leaves. And there's also a root rot disease from our super moist soils if it's not in a well-drained area. As far as like pests that host on papaya, if you've learned about any of the hornworms that seem to just devour plants here in Florida, papaya has its own, or I guess one of the hornworms host on papaya is a better way to say that. And that is if you could guess what the name of it would be the papaya hornworm, kind of like the tobacco hornworm and the tomato hornworm. So the papaya hornworm looks very similar to the other hornworms. It has the tail that gives the hornworm name, even though it's a tail and not truly a horn. And it is green like the most other hornworms. The biggest difference that you can use to identify it, other than the fact that it's hosting on your papaya, is that it does not have the false eyes that go down the sides like many other hornworms do. And it really only has one big, kind of like sphinx looking eye right across the top of its head. And that's the biggest identifying mark on the papaya hornworm. And so it'll feed on these leaves and the tender young growth, and then it will go to the ground to pupate and become one of the sphinx moths. And so I like to leave them around. I try and let them be, as long as I'm not just absolutely getting crushed by their destruction. And I believe that moths are nocturnal pollinators, so I try and leave them around and let them feed and do their thing as much as I can, even if some of my food crops get damaged in the process. So I think that's all I can talk about right now about papaya. That's pulling things right off the top of my head. Great plant. It's growing in popularity here in Florida, especially in Central Florida, as a food forest and foodscape plant. And the fruit is nice and big. You can get multiple yields, so it's a good producer and relatively easy to take care of, as long as it doesn't get taken out by a storm on you. Thanks again for everybody who participated. I really enjoyed watching y'all's comments and guesses come through. And I'm glad that we're able to raise some money for the different nonprofits that we donate to. And I'm glad that we're able to give somebody their $10 prize this week. Hopefully you guys will check back with us again next week. If you want to be notified of this upcoming week's What Is It Wednesday, please like and subscribe, or follow us, or whatever it is on whatever platform you're on that you need to do to be updated. And send us a message if you have any suggestions for What Is It Wednesdays or anything else you'd like to see. Appreciate you guys, and God bless.